what is the SpO2 monitoring? This is called as blood oxygen saturation, and how much amount of oxygen is carried by hemoglobin versus how much oxygen it is not carrying. So one molecule of hemoglobin, how much oxygen is bound to that is shown as a percentage of SpO2. In SpO2 we see that a normal person saturation is around 95, 96, 97, sometimes 100% also. It means that much percentage of hemoglobin is saturated with the oxygen. Low levels lead to hypoxemia. Hypoxemia means low levels of SpO2 in blood. So when this prolonged principle of spectrophotometry or photolensmography. Does not need to remember so much of complex details. What you can see, light is emitted by some electrode, or you can say that some light emitting diode over the like finger or any other area like earlobe or any other organ. So amount of light is absorbed by the hemoglobin is monitored as SpO2. Now, if you remember the electromagnetic spectrum, in that case there was visible light, infrared light, ultraviolet light and X-rays, gamma rays, like that. It used to be the electromagnetic spectrum. In that spectrum, it is known that the infrared light it is absorbed by the oxygenated blood more, and the red light is absorbed by the deoxygenated blood more. So SpO2 is basically the ratio of these two. The light absorbed by the oxygenated hemoglobin versus the light absorbed by the deoxygenated hemoglobin. So whatever the percentage we see in the SpO2, it is the percentage of hemoglobin which is saturated with the oxygen. Okay. And it has two modes. One is transmissive mode, another is reflective mode. In transmissive mode, light is passed through this is a you can say that light emitting diode, and this is a sensor which is sensing how much the light was absorbed by the oxygenated blood. And in the reflective mode, these two sensors or probes are attached adjacent to each other. So in such case, this emits the light and this absorbs the light. This senses the light, how much the light has been absorbed. These are the two modes. Most commonly, this transmissive mode is used in ICU monitoring. So, can you differentiate between SpO2, SaO2 and PeO2? These are the common terms used in ICUs. Anybody knows? It's written over here only. So, SpO2, basically, this is oxygen bound to hemoglobin. It is measured, SpO2 is measured by oximetry. SaO2 is also the similar concept but measured by the lab testing. PO2 is little bit different concept. So this is oxygen content dissolved in plasma and it is measured by ABG. Normal findings, normal SpO2 is more than 95, but it again varies from cases to cases. So these are the arbitrary limits. Now comes to the equipment. So we have portable SpO2 monitors like this, and this is a continuous SpO2 monitoring equipment which is available in ICUs. Another equipment we have available like smartwatches, fitness watches. They are also used as a SpO2 monitoring tools, but they use different kind of mechanism to monitor SpO2. So they are not considered much reliable in case of ICU settings, but they can be used in general patients. Here you can see this is finger probe. Here is a light emitting diode. This produces the light. This emits the light, and here is our finger. And light is detected, how much the amount of light absorbed by the finger or hemoglobin, you can say that. And this is the equipment. Here is a SpO2 connector. This is connected to the patient. This is a knob to control the patient functions. This is USB port. If this data is stored, this can be available for future uses. And this is on-off button. This is home button to do some settings. And this is audio button to make some silences, to make the alarm silent. These are the sites of probe placement. Over the finger, over the earlobe, over the head in case of children, earlobes, over the nose, over the hands, child or adult, in case of toes in the children or foot, or in case of hands in case of infants. And this is the correct placement. This light should cross your finger, and if it is not crossing finger, this can show you some false reading, or sometimes it may not show you some kind of reading. So this is incorrect placement of the probe. Things to consider while monitoring SpO2. Equipment should be in working condition. Clean the probe sensor. Keep the extremities warm when the probe is fixated. Place the probe on earlobe or nose or as close as to the body so that it is warmed. Avoid motion while monitoring. Remove the nail paint or artificial nails. Look for pulse strength signal. Correlate with the pulse. and look for underlying conditions which are affecting SpO2 levels, especially in case of carboxyhemoglobin and methemoglobinemia, where actual SpO2 level will be less, but as the device is not able to differentiate between oxyhemoglobin, carboxyhemoglobin, methemoglobin, and the saturation will be falsely high. This is a pulse oximetry waveform. So, do you remember this kind of waveform? This is shown in arterial line monitoring also, because arterial pulse is pulsatile. So, this is showing this is a dicrotic notch, means this is a systole. This is end of systole and starting of diastole. This dicrotic notch is formed. This is a normal waveform, and these are some kind of artifacts. Suppose this is a normal signal. Sometimes the signal can be like this. This can be low perfusion state, or sometimes the oximeter is detached from the patient. Then this is a noise artifact. This is motion artifact. Some kind of artifacts can be there. And how to interpret these waveforms, and what are the physiological basis when to intervene. This is a normal waveform. If waveform is little bit damped, what it can be? Either the stroke volume is less, or the heart is not able to contract enough blood into the systemic circulation or arterial circulation. So this can be damped. In such cases, use either inotropes for heart failure, or give blood or crystalloids or any kind of fluids. If it is large in bounding, it means stroke volume is high. It can be in cases of fever, anemia, AR, traumatic brain injury. This is pulses alternance. This happens mainly in cardiac tamponades, where one beat is high, another beat is low, another is high, another is low. So varying amplitude pulses are available. This happens in LV failure. Then there is no dicrotic notch. Dicrotic notch comes after the closure of aortic valve. So it can be because of AS or coronary heart diseases. And such kind of waveform can also be available, which can be artifact or chaotic rhythm. In such cases, do not monitor at all. Or you can consider for arrhythmias. So interventions, like if it is more than 95, no need to do anything. If it is 88 to 92, continuously monitor the patient why this low level of saturations are coming. If it is 85 to 94, consider some underlying cause which can be interfering with SpO2. Like in COPD patients, the normal baseline saturation is around 85 to 88. It can be normal for those patients, but it can be abnormal for another kind of patient. In severely hypoxic patients, saturation can be less than 85, so consider supplemental oxygen in the form of either ventimask or nasal prongs or mechanical intubation. So take home message from pulse oximetry that it is non-invasive tool to assess oxygen saturation. Early identification of hypoxia can be seen with SpO2. Appropriate site probe placement should be seen. Motion artifacts should be avoided, and record the factors which are affecting SpO2 levels.